What if understanding your health wasn't complicated? What if the human body actually looked more like a city? Roads, power plants, transportation systems, police force, sanitation crews. And what if, when the city infrastructures broke down, disease appeared? Today, I'm going to show you the Cell City framework, a simple way to understand how your body actually works. My name is Benjamin Smith. I wrote the award-winning book, Why Are You Sick? And the audiobook that explains the ultimate health model. Doctors, coaches, practitioners have started using this framework because it helps people understand something that most health advice never explains: how the body actually functions as one cohesive system. So you might be asking yourself, why should I listen to another health voice online? That's fair. There are 1,000 influencers telling you what to eat, what supplements to take. Don't eat this, eat this, take that. What are you supposed to do? I mean, how's anyone supposed to navigate all that stuff? What the newest health trend is? I think NAD, there's some other supplements that I've been hearing about. There's so many of them. They're just all over the board. But most of them are focusing on individual pieces of the puzzle. What we're doing is explain the whole system, how it works together. The goal here isn't to give you another protocol. The goal is to give you a framework so you can start understanding your own health. It's that simple. When people start understanding the system, they stop feeling confused and start feeling in control again. So let's talk about what Cell City is. Imagine your body as one massive city with many neighborhoods. So those neighborhoods have houses called cells. And think about it like this. There's 50 trillion cells in the body, approximately, give or take. They don't know exactly how many are there. Imagine 50 trillion houses. I mean, there's only 8 billion people on the planet. I mean, you can't even imagine. And then we're all working together inside this city called your body. 50 trillion cells are working together. Think about how incredible that is. So, inside that city, you have transportation system, which is waterways, your blood vessels. Your blood, I think, is 80% water, approximately. So think of it as a waterway, a river, a stream. The bigger waterways are like the bigger arteries in your body and veins. Now, veins carry the blood's a lot slower and not as turbulent. So, but just in the arteries, think of them as the big ones are rivers, and the small ones, the capillaries, and the smaller arterioles are like streams. So there's very gentle flow, and then that goes to the neighborhoods and into the houses. It's really kind of a brilliant thing when you think of it like that. There's also power plants. The power plants are the mitochondria. You learned about mitochondria in 8th grade biology. That's the power plant of the cell, and they do most of the work. Then you have communication systems, your nerves, cells that communicate signals. Also, hormones are communication signals. Everything's got to coordinate together in one perfect system. Then you have sanitation departments. They can do all the cleanup work, getting garbage out, repairing, broken down houses and buildings. And then they tear them down too. So it's just all working together. So they all work together to keep the city running smoothly. That's the important thing. So the mitochondria, and so like I said, inside each house, there are power plants. Some have a few, some have hundreds, some have thousands. The bigger districts have more power plants because they need more energy. The smaller districts that don't require as much energy have less power plants. It's a simple engineering miracle. So scientists have been describing these power plants for decades. This is not new. I'm not doing anything new here, people. This is stuff we've been talking about for 50 years. We're just expanding this analogy out to understand it in a more complete way. So, remember the movie Osmosis Jones in the 90s? They talk about how the body's like a city. Chris Rock was in it, Bill Murray. I love that movie, and that's kind of where my inspiration came from for a lot of this stuff. So now imagine if this infrastructure starts breaking down. Okay, that's important. So the waterways become damaged. They become polluted, right? So there's pollution in the water, and it's stagnant. That's not a good thing. The emergency systems are constantly activated. Eventually, the city starts experiencing serious problems. That's exactly how chronic disease starts to develop. Now, what does most health advice get wrong? They focus on the cargo, the inputs. People are talking about keto, carnivore, low carb, plant based. Everyone's just talking about calories in, calories out, and the food. It's not all about the food. It's about, let's eat this, avoid that, take this supplement. But in Cell City, we look at something important and different, the condition of the city itself. Because the same fuel can behave very differently depending on the condition of the infrastructure of the city. Now write that down. That's important. The same fuel can behave very differently. So you got sugar, which is glucose. You got different kinds of sugar, fructose. You got fats, saturated fats, unsaturated fats. All of them behave differently depending on the infrastructure. That's so important. How well those mitochondria and those power plants are working. That's the main thing. Okay, so I had actually someone comment on one of my videos. They said, viewing the body like a city makes health so much more approachable. That's important, right? It makes it easy to understand. We understand in mental models. It's just, that's how humans understand in pictures. So inside Cell City, there are two forces constantly influencing the city. The green side of the model, when you look at ultimatehealthmodel.com, the green side strengthens the infrastructure. It's that simple. Things like sunlight, movement, real food, sleep, healthy environments, these all support the city and your city, and it builds and it thrives. Then there's things like the red side of my model. Those cause chronic stress. That chronic stress is that environmental toxins, ultra-processed food, poor sleep, sedentary lifestyle. These slowly damage the city infrastructure. So you're starting to get a mental picture of this. It's the red side and the green side. Use as many things on the green side as you can. It's really that simple to start regaining your health back. So when the infrastructure is damaged, like we talked about, the waterways become turbulent, transportation slows, power plants struggle, emergency systems stay activated, and eventually the city starts experiencing disease. So when people understand Cell City, something very powerful happens. They stop being afraid and confused. They stop chasing random health trends. They start asking better questions. Instead of asking, which diet is the best? They start asking, what is happening to the infrastructure of my city with what I'm doing? That's a much better question to ask. This framework doesn't give you rigid rules. It gives you clarity. Because when you start understanding how the city works, you can start making better health decisions about your health. If this idea makes sense, we explain the entire framework at Why Are You Sick, our audiobook, our print book. That's the ultimate health model. That's the green side keeps you healthy the best it can. The red side causes the city to slowly break down. It's that simple. So in the next video, we're going to talk about something there's a lot of controversy around it. Honey. So people say it's sugar, but if the body really works like a city, honey may behave actually like a clean fuel. And this difference is actually fascinating. Stay tuned for that. This will be our next video. Ultimate Health Model, anywhere you see that, that's us. And we will, like and subscribe to this video, tell your friends. We want this channel to expand and grow because this is information that people have not heard before. They've heard all the other stuff a million times. This, that, eat that, don't do that. This is something completely different and completely, new. To try it. He said, does it work for you? All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.